you're a bit nervous. More than nervous, you're a bit
flat. I've been battling depression off and on for years. And when the stroke hit, then the depression got really bad because I'm stuck in a wheelchair, but not being able to talk, and the people think I'm a freak.
For me and Willie, it's a really even deeper friendship, which is built on our mutually going through some really, really tough times. And there's not much else in life that matters apart from the relationship that you have with other people and how you can have an impact. And there are people going to be here that will listen to the story and go, oh my God, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could get out of my issues or concern.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, great. Kia ora, I'm David Downs. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a writer, I'm an actor at times, and I'm someone who's beaten cancer.
I'm Willie DeWitt, stroke survivor. Since my stroke 3 years ago, I've been doing a lot of rehabilitation and coming through with a bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
So, getting into the shit. Right, are you ready? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling?
Oh, I'm nervous about it all a little bit. Yeah, it's been a wee while, but I'm feeling more confident.
I mean, the whole idea of doing the show, you know, was really a bit of a joke, and now we're actually having to do it.
Well, hang on, wait. You said, hang on, a joke. You said, if we survive this,
yes,
we're going to do a show in a year.
Yeah, but I didn't think you'd survive, so
yeah,
I thought you called my bluff. That's the problem.
I did.
Yeah, now I have to do it, damn it.
And I lived, and you lived too, double down.
I know, it's really quite disappointing all round.
I've known David for nearly 30 years. We've had a long-standing association and friendship from TV comedy and shows we're doing both live and with TV.
I remember the first time I met Willie. He won't remember.
He was a young 17-year-old, and we were like this group funny business, like getting into the comedic world. And
then they decided they'd do a live tour, and they came to my hometown, and it was in a pub, so we had to sneak in.
And he kind of lied his way into the pub to meet us, and we befriended him, and we had a mutual interest of comedy.
One of the coolest things that ever happened to me was I got a phone call one day out of the blue from Willie saying, oh, you know, funny business doing this gig in Hamilton, and we were wondering if you wanted to come and join us and be on stage. And it was like, oh my God, this is like a childhood dream come true, because now I was going to perform on stage with them. There was a period of 10 years or more where Willie and I didn't really see much of each other. And I sort of heard through the grapevines that Willie was suffering from depression. He had this massive stroke. He was still really kind of suffering from the effects of that, you know, paralysed, dribbling. His speech was very bad. At the same time I was having my cancer journey, I was sort of in the middle of that. So I was kind of reaching out to him and saying, hey, maybe we should get together. And then we reconnected and just rekindled that old familiar relationship. You can only legitimately make fun out of the things that have happened to you.
Okay, well, on that...
And in your case, there's plenty of material.
Sort of, hey!
It's fantastic. Alan Martin bus.
It was wonderful.
Oh,
yeah,
Captain
okay.
11. Brilliant. Thanks, Al. Thanks a million. Pathetic. Auckland rugby sucks. So we can do it in Praton. Go Auckland!
They have it at 6 after 7. On Radio Howard, you're with the Morning Pirates.
Willie DeWitt.
Mark Perry. Dean Butler.
Well, we're off to Cairo.
Oh, wow.
Why not? 18 million reasons to.
Yeah, too right.
Hierarchy, we had a great show with great characters. We had Thomas the Tanked Engine, a piss train. We had Ranjith. We had Barry the Bum. And what happened to us was that people began to set their watch by our regular slots. And it was really going beautifully. But it came to a crashing halt after 11 years in 2011. When we were no longer required and they wanted to try and youth up Hierarchy. For me, it was like a legacy that had finished. But after a while, the novelty of it finishing kind of wore off. I was getting sporadic work with production and voice production, but the inevitability of what was going to happen happened. And gradually, the depression kicked in, badly. I shut myself off from everybody. I closed ranks. The depression was so great that I literally divorced myself from everybody, from people that I cared about, that I loved, pushed them away, calling, and they gave up because I wouldn't return any calls. And it was almost like punishing myself because in my depression, I didn't feel that I was worthy, or that I couldn't justify what was going on because I was a failure, because things were down, because depression is such an evil, evil son of a bitch that it took control. I was doing drugs for a while. I drank as well, which was pure escapism. So I would like get auditions and make excuses not to go. And again, that refutal of anything wrong with me. I'm fine, I'm fine. Refute, 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 deny, 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 all the time spiraling downwards. And it wasn't until someone said to me, "You're really depressed." But it's such a hard battle. It's like your demons are there that you possess only, until the darkness that is there is shared. Inevitably, I sought treatment and sought help. So I had to learn how to counter it, how to better it, how to be better, how to take control and overcome it. And then, of course, after 5 years or so, having put myself right, came the stroke out of nowhere, which was literally, you don't see it coming.
So have your bits, you've rewritten a lot of your bits?
Yeah, pretty much completely
Because
rewritten.
you had
I've used
to,
some of
because
the
it's so
jokes,
much
but
shorter.
yeah.
So is the script finalised?
It depends what you mean by script.
The thing with the words and
Yeah,
paper?
then no, the answer to that, because we just sort of, you don't want to over-plan these things. You don't want...
I've been happily married for 23 years to Catherine. She's an amazing mother of my children, Jack, Josh, and Toby.
We're a big part of each other. We sort of grew up in our adult years together. You know, he had that warmth and confidence, and it was lots of fun.
Catherine and I are just so lucky to have such a cool family. And the experiences of the last couple of years for me going through cancer has actually brought us together even more closely than we were before. I remember the day that the doctor told us that the cancer was terminal. She'd sort of said to us, look, if the cancer comes back again and again and again, then the chances of us being able to cure you kind of really rapidly decrease. And I saw this message come up on my phone from the hospital, and I knew that that was a bad sign.
You probably don't face anything much more difficult unless somebody died tragically, suddenly. It's an absolute roller coaster of emotions. You know, of course I had to imagine life without David, and it was just, all the fun was going to go.
When the doctor told me that the cancer was terminal, our first instinct was to say, okay, well, we don't see the world as where we live. We see the world as a big place. Through this amazing set of luck and coincidences, we had connected with someone who's worked in cancer research in the US. We got in touch with him and said, look, we need your help. He was just an amazing guy who put us in touch with researchers at Harvard University, and through that connection, we got the opportunity to go on a clinical trial. So I remember the time when we realised that this potential treatment was going to cost $1 million US, and we didn't have any money like that. For me, it was a really tough time because I was thinking, we could go ahead and sell the house and spend all the money and basically bankrupt ourselves, and I might die anyway. And Catherine said, no, actually, that's not the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is we don't sell the house and you die, and I spend the rest of my life wondering what might have happened. In the end, we didn't have to sell the house. It was amazing.
A week later, I find myself at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. And this particular treatment, which is called CAR T-cell therapy, it's an incredibly simple and beautiful idea that you're using the body's own immune system to kill cancer.
So I guess I came back to life again. I didn't rise from the dead, but it felt a bit like that because I went off to Boston with a terminal illness. I came back 3 months later completely cured. After you've been through something like I've been through, you kind of see life through a different perspective, and you realise that actually the things that matter in life are relationships with people and how you can help others. For me and Willie, it's interesting because we've got a kind of symbiotic relationship, I think. You know, for many years I looked up to him. He was like a hero of mine. And when we got to know each other as kind of peers and friends, and now we've got a really even deeper friendship, I think, which is built on our mutually going through some really, really tough times and knowing that we've got each other and can kind of catch each other. You know, he's having a tough time, and I sort of see my role at the moment is to help him. I often think about a seesaw. The great thing about relationships sometimes is someone's down on their end of the seesaw. Hopefully the other person's up and they might be able to help you. At the moment, you know, we're trying to work out how we can kind of balance that seesaw and help each other out. Because we've got, the opening bit where we've got Josh and Midiana coming on, they're two doctors. Yep. They do their doctory thing. And then we're going into a double-hander with you and me. Yeah, and basically we're talking about, you know, the fact that you've had a stroke and but that's a pretty minor thing. My cancer was much more important.
Well, David, I almost died.
Yeah, I know, but just a stroke. It wasn't really life-threatening, really, was it? I mean, nothing like me. Yeah, we have a funny process for writing a show. First of all, we hardly ever write. That's a real comedian thing. Like, most of the time they're sitting around bantering, kind of just a bit of one-upmanship, sort of making jokes on jokes. Frank gets a chance just to spend some time with Willie. And actually, only now, he's starting to be much, much more like his previous self. You know, there's a glint in there. Yeah, but you'll be fine.
Great, because there's nothing like that self-sufficiency thing when you've only got one arm. My God. And then I talk about being home after that first year. Yeah. And for me being like, remember we talked about that too, me feeling like a freak and a...
When you're just sitting there talking, it's all fine, but as soon as you get up, everyone goes, oh, OK, that's right.
He's right, he's just...
Yeah. But it's funny because the people who know you well, it just isn't a thing anymore. So I think that's the point about your inner beauty comes out, your inner strength and mana, and every day you get a bit better.
But you've seen that shift and change over that time frame too.
Yeah.
And the pauses and the stroke brain gags and all that stuff. But
that's hardly ever now. I mean, that's a very minor. That's more like now. I think you blame a lot on having a stroke, whereas actually it's just old age now. So I have that. I can't use stroke brain. I can't say chemo brain like I used to. No. Now it's just, okay. No, it's just being old.
It's just old. It's
old.
an age thing.
It's just age.
And I remember that night I had a stroke. It was April 12th. It was 2016. I was just walking to another room. I felt a sensation on my left, and then it was like a really, really heavy kind of like noise. It was like a trying to pump up a tire. But there was this, I'll never forget the sound of like, and I tried to move my foot. It was like flapping like a clown, the big clown shoes flapping. And I went to try and I did 2 steps and I collapsed again. And I'm going like, what? Tried to get up again, hit the bed, collapsed down on the ground again. I'm going like, what? Fell unconscious. That's when they had my brain started bleeding. So I wasn't found until 12 hours later. 12 hours unconscious with the bleeding brain. It was a huge stroke that I had. I can't remember a lot of things for the first 2 or 3 months. Honestly, the most earliest recollection was just sepia-like colours and footage of people. I actually thought I was on the Love Boat. Like, it was kind of like set like a 30s musical. Nurses and doctors were actually like crew members. They'd take off my gown and dance around me. Like, nurses would come down going, how's the voyage going? And I'd be going like, great, or it's great. But it was incredibly intolerably painful. Just not being able to talk and the pain of having to swallow. And I was very lucky, man. I literally was very close to death. Then learnt about my disabilities and how affected I was by the stroke, which had taken up my left side. The most poignant thing for me was in this hospital with these 12 people who were like stroke-based people. We'd come into the same room to eat and no communication, nothing. And that's why I kind of gave up at that stage too. It was like, you know what? Is this it?
Oh, God. Tell me it's A. X.
Go first.
How many?
7. So you go first, you're away.
No. He had his stroke 3 days before my 15th birthday. And I got a call in our school library. I had to duck behind a computer and go, hello? And it was his boss going, hi, your dad's had a stroke, he's in hospital, come now. I remember going to the rehab hospitals with him and seeing him not being able to speak. Him not knowing what was going on was really hard for me.
Losing my speech was incredibly frightening. And it was garbled gabble and it was dribble and it was like stroke face down there. And I hated it because it was like I'd see myself and go, But there was that sense of hopelessness, of defeat. When I said I felt in my lowest ebb, I felt like I was a freak. People were staring, that like it wasn't happening.
It's been hard to see him get really down. It's been hard to see him when the depression has taken a hold of him for days and weeks, and it's been hard to see him sever himself from people, and it's really hard to see someone you love do that.
18 months in the wheelchair, kind of accepting belatedly my fate and how I was, and for want of a better word, disabled. And then finding strength in people like David Downs, who knew I was depressed. And he was like, you know what? Accept it, get better from it, learn from it, develop it, nurture it, and make it happen. Yeah. And that's what I began to do. It's like we got back onto some medication, and it was getting a bit, not mobility, but just cohesion and that mental thing working, the brain capacity going, you know what? And then there became hope, because it was like, yeah, I'm stuck in this, but there is something to fix, change, implement, do, make happen. I was determined to talk again. I had to learn again. Magic word, patience, what I didn't have in the beginning, just to practice stuff. I had all day, man. I had all frickin' day to do it. So I did. And it began with like this appalling aphasia from the T's and the S's and the P's and the TH's and stuff. A year and a half ago, wheelchair. A year ago, out of wheelchair. 8 months ago, quad stick walking. And that is a really, really cool thing.
There we go. Why don't we turn this thing around and you can actually sit on it? Do you want to stand up for a second?
How dare you? I'm not disabled, I'm just handicapped.
Well, stand up and we'll turn it around.
Right, okay.
Hang on.
Oh, God.
There we go.
Thanks, guys.
Seat, there you go.
Thank you.
Best seat in the house.
Dr. Exposition, you must have been through hell.
The thing about doing a live show is you realise you're always going to be a little bit nervous. You're always going to feel a little bit like you're not quite in control until the moment you go on stage. So we're probably in that zone at the moment.
Not another washed-up comedian.
We could find out that they were our long-lost fathers.
There's 5 of us in the show, so Willie and I and another friend, Emma. Emma's got brain cancer, and then 2 of our children, which is really cool. It kind of creates this feeling of community that we're relying on each other.
Why don't we run it just with these guys doing their dance moves then? Yeah. Would that be cool?
But we're certainly not resting on our laurels. Like, it's quite hard to pull off a 50-minute show about death in a comedic way.
Wait till you see my sweet and me on Friday nights downtown.
It's so exciting. I'm just really nervous about it because some of it's a little bit improv and some of it isn't necessarily super scripted, and we might make at least a couple of people in the audience laugh. That's the hope, because it opens up another world of opportunities. Dad gets back into, the comedy scene and all the people that he knows where he left off.
Right. It doesn't really matter which side you go. We'll work with whichever side you end up better for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean... You also don't need to go to me.
Don't patronise me. I'll just do whatever you say.
Really, I'd swap sides because I don't really want to
I
be
don't care what you think, Joshua. The dappled light. I wanted today to end. I hated it. I really hated it.
It was good. It was
I
good.
hated it. I felt awful and disabled and... Yeah.
We did well. You did really, really well in a makeshift wheelie chair. Don't forget, we're in a space that neither of us know. You are stressed about it, which is...
No,
I should be
I'm not.
stressed. I don't know my lines.
You know what got me the most was the fact that I couldn't get to be where you guys are. I sat in this frickin' chair and I had my first down moment for a very long time. Tonight, I'll be doing Steak Diane. I was a very, very damn good semi-gourmet cook with 2 hands. That's it, Brett. Now, you cook, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Probably 10. I'm joking. It's not... Again, a long, slow process of learning to adapt. I mean, I'm the most extraordinary one-handed cook now you've ever seen. Okay, I can do bacon. It's very good. And an egg, if someone breaks it. And turn. I was sort of pretty close to rare to medium rare. Literally, steak jus le pont with a hint of jus of the wine, the salad, the beetroot, and the organic fish. Voila. It's a steak. Doing.
I think for Dad, I want him to get to a place where he fully accepts what's happened. I want him to get to a place where he's happy. I think he wants some companionship, so something like that'd be nice. Someone he can have a cup of tea with and just have a chat with.
Yeah, we're going to do it. We'll do it. Look, if you're that desperate...
I'm not desperate.
Well, no, sorry.
I'm not... How dare you?
I'll start my sentence again.
Could you?
Given you're so keen, let's create you an online profile.
Keen's a good word.
Okay, good. Right, first.
Height.
What would you say? 6 foot-ish. 6-ish.
Yeah.
6-ish.
Not 5'8" at all.
You're selling. Likes. Long, slow walks on the beach.
Well, and emphasis on slow.
Slow.
Emphasis on slow.
What you're looking for in the other person.
Preferably living. Living's good.
Yeah, maybe a very poor sense of taste.
That's good.
Okay.
Not fussed.
With the eyes. Yeah, old dementia, we're not fussed.
We're not fussed. Well, hang on.
Yes.
I'm not judging. I don't judge. I don't see that as a negative.
Oh, no, okay.
I see it as a
okay, I'm going to say something different.
So what are you going to say?
Someone with a fresh perspective. Let's summarise.
Okay.
Looking for living.
Living.
And then what we're saying that you are
Early
is
40s, 6 foot 2.
6'2", part Italian, long, slow walks on the beach. Done.
Cheers.
You'll be in by Monday.
Monday.
The show, it was such a cool concept on Dad and David's part. It's just so awesome that I had the opportunity to do this with Dad.
For this show, there's trepidation, there's nerves going off. It's only when you stand up and you can't manoeuvre and you're on your quad stick, people go, oh yeah, he had a stroke. It was like, oh my God, people think I'm just a wheelchair-ridden mess. And if people were looking or they'd look and they'd turn away, it was possibly guilt, not like a look of like, ha ha, you handicapped buffoon. It was like looking and then like looking away, oh, he's got me looking.
How you feeling? You're a bit nervous. More than nervous. You're a bit...
flat.
Why?
Oh, no, really? Just a bit tired, man.
Because the magic here
Yeah.
is the dynamism of you. It's the spark between you, me, and Emma. I reckon that's the magic of the show. The two kids are fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's making sure that we're kind of like joyous in our
Celebratory. And
yeah.
Well, that's how it should.
F you cancer. F you stroke. It's easy for us to forget why we're actually here.
Yeah.
Which is that me and you we said we were going to do a show.
We did.
And now we're doing it. And I'm there. I've got your back.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
Wise words, mon ami, wise words. Come here.
Me.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, great.
Let's bring them in. Dr. Backstory, other patients in the ward. We present David Downs and Willie DeWitt.
So thank you. First of all, it's wonderful to be here. Willie and I, about a year and a half ago, we were facing a pretty uncertain outcome. I had cancer. Willie only had a stroke, but I had...
Sorry, stop.
Yeah?
Just a stroke.
Yeah,
Mate,
life-threatening. It wasn't life.
Oh, he died, boo!
Well, I mean, cancer's worse than a stroke. Let's ask these guys. Okay, who thinks cancer... Actually, give it up for cancer. Give it up for cancer. That's stroke. What about stroke? You people are sick.
I tried to escape from hospital twice, and so the nurses would be going like, quick, Mr. DeWitt's escaping. I know, as you were, he's just going around in circles. So for me, coming back to doing live comedy again, to have that regeneration of it again is amazing. And to do it now, with my limitations as they are, and my disabilities as they are, is even more edifying, even more rewarding, because it's a challenge that I've overcome, and I'm doing it again.
I guess one of the key lessons I've learned is that your ability to go through something is in large part related to how many friends and family and how much support you get. So I guess my advice would be that you can never have too many friends. You should always make sure you're cultivating friendships and keeping them alive, because those are the things that will actually get you through the tough times.
If you or someone you know needs support, free call or text 1737.
Thanks. Bye. Okay, really, this is really, come on. I just need to pee. Just give me some space. Look, okay.
Attitude was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.